Yep, this is probably Pixar's most underrated project, both right now and possibly anything in the past as well. Do you remember Pixar's Win or Lose? This was at one point a trailer way back in 2021 that was announced and nothing really came of it, whether it fell into development hell or has just been slowly making its progress all this time and they really early balled us back in the day. With it being D23 week this week, there was more announcements from Disney and Pixar going on, and Win or Lose got a nice little revival going on. Now officially getting a release date for December 6th this year. Finally, it is Pixar making their own original series for the first time ever, and I'm very curious to hear if it will be very successful. Because, as we've seen in recent movies, whenever Pixar does something that goes straight to streaming, there is some sort of power that is lost over time. But then again, maybe a TV series has to go to streaming. There isn't really an alternative, is there? Now, this is an interesting project with some interesting people involved. Being directed, written, and executively produced by Carrie Hobson and Michael Yates, this is Pixar doing sports content. Now sure, I guess in Monsters University there was a little bit of fantasy sports going on in there, and I guess you could technically count space dancing as a kind of sport, it's certainly an activity. But no, this is full on a baseball series. And it seems like even just from the little teaser we've seen so far, both old and new, this looks to be a very wholesome, potential heartstrings kind of series. Or at least it does to me. There's a very wholesome vibe that I gain from the little bits of footage we've seen. And actually, from the basically 1 minute of new content we've got, I'm very, very impressed. This looks to be an absolute fan service love letter to just animation in general. I kind of get, well, I get a lot of vibes for a lot of different series here, but I very much, more than anything else, get a kind of the World of Gumball vibe the most. There's a lot of animation highlights when playing with different artistic styles that are very just beautiful to see. And of course, with a studio as fantastical as Pixar, and especially with the time and budget to do all sorts of things, they can expand to showcase all sorts of really lovely animation elements. Be it animating on 2s, creating a 2D character in 3D, the classic 2D flares a la Mitchells vs. Machines and all that good stuff along the sides, and attaching it all together to just the underdog story of a not too great baseball team and their coach trying to get by. I think this could be a really wonderful project. I was curious to hear about it a good 3 years ago, and to see it finally coming round again, actually getting made and not being lost fully to development hell is honestly just great news from my end. This is, I would argue, the underrated project of Pixar, at the very least of the modern day, because I don't think I've ever heard really anyone else properly talk about this series. It's Pixar doing a series, for God's sake. How often does that happen? I mean, I guess we do have Monsters at Work, but you get the idea still. This is original, this is full-on new. Now, apparently there are 8 different characters to be involved in this storyline. You've got stuff like the insecure kids, the lovesick umpire, the helicopter parents, and all sorts of elements all coming together in this mishmash plotline story of relationships more than anything else, I reckon, all surrounding a championship softball game, with Will Forte being the voice of the coach. Hello there, thank you for making it halfway through this video. As per usual, do come along and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're interested in other D23 animated news, I love talking about Pixar and all things animation. So if you haven't already, come along and join. Otherwise, I'll let you get back to the rest of our thoughts on the most underrated Pixar project, Pixar's Win or Lose. And as you can imagine, it's not entirely all about the sports. I mean, with a title like Win or Lose, I kind of feel like the finale's going to be that they do lose, but at the end of the day, that's okay, you know? One of the descriptions we even have is, it's not so much about softball as it is a comedy about love, rivalry, and the challenges we all face in our struggles to win at life. As described by Pete Docter, anyway. Now, unsurprisingly, this is streaming exclusively on Disney+. Where else would it go? Of course it's exclusive, I don't think that's really a surprise to hear. But I do think a lot of the elements are here to showcase a really high-quality series that I'm just really curious to see if it'll actually do well financially, you know? This seems like a project that will go out there and then kind of be forgotten. A lot of the straight-to-Disney+ things that aren't full-on theatrical releases do kind of get lost to the wayside. I don't really hear about anyone else mentioning Cars on the Road or Carl's Date. And even when it does come to the other straight-to-streaming movies like Elemental, I didn't really know anyone else in my real life other than other die-hard animation movie fans that actually watched something like Elemental, you know? Regardless, apparently it's a whole expansion that Disney and Pixar are planning to do, as they have also announced on the side a spin-off series for Inside Out, because of course Inside Out's getting an expansion. Can you blame them? They made a lot of money. titled as Dream Productions, showcasing more elements of Riley's mind and expanding the universe there. Apparently showcasing what it's going to be like when Riley and the emotions are asleep. Cool. Fair enough. Lovely. This, however, this underdog story, I think might be one of the projects I am most gleaming to see succeed, you know? It's the one I'm most anticipating, oddly enough. Sure, Incredibles 3, classic, standard. I'm a little hesitant after the mishaps of Incredibles 2. Toy Story 5, yeah, fantastical, of course. Love that franchise. Hope it doesn't go into the dirt. Interesting message, but, you know, I've seen 4 of them already, and then 2 other mini-movies. But this looks like the kind of series that is like a hidden gem to me. There clearly is so much love and adoration poured into every single frame, and already just the vibes seem so wholesome and emotionally succinct. With a great visual art style that really pops off the screen, I am endlessly hyped for this project more than anything, so aren't I delighted that it's only coming out at the end of this year. I'll have a lovely winter one way or another. But hey, did you even know that this production was in production? Win or lose, it seems to be the most underrated Pixar project of recent times, so I'm very much glad to be here shouting my little spokespiece all about it here and now. But on that note, I'll at least end it off here for now, as I wait eagerly for the next installment of what is probably some pretty damn good quality animation coming from this series. For now, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do let me know your thoughts on Pixar's Win or Lose. Were you aware of this project? Have you been waiting since 2021 like me? And do you think it'll be any good? Where do you think it'll go? I guess we'll find out way out in December 6th. But for now, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video, and I shall see you real soon for some more D23 week. Bye-bye now.